2022 has been a weird, sort of tumultuous time in the sense that, like, so Boris Johnson's been ejected from power, Liz Truss very promptly ejected from power, but then Rishi Sunak, you know, is there, but then it's like mortgages are doubling and gas bills are doubling, and it's just been a tumultuous time. Like, what do you think is in store for us for 2023?
Well, obviously January is going to be tough. It always is. People don't realise what they spent at Christmas. Then we're into February, and we need to.
My God, I am so bored. Yo, ladies and gents, welcome to this Friday night show. It is 8 o'clock. I am your host, Aid Thompson, for this goddamn episode. It's 138, and my guest tonight, I'm super psyched to have him back on the show. His name is John Left of the Countryside. Woo!
It's brilliant. It's really very good.
Do you like
very
that?
Good indeed.
Yes.
Yeah. Really good.
For the benefit of those joining us who perhaps are not familiar with John, that's the sound of me opening a beer, by the way. John and I sort of met each other on TikTok. We've never met in person, have we? But we've
No. It's kind of I think the world is against that meeting.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Because I think we kind of met in lockdown, really.
Yeah. Well, that's
maybe lockdown 2, I think.
That's when I sort of started TikToking relentlessly. Was that when you started doing it also, or I can't remember.
When I started TikToking properly, yeah, like lockdown. I was doing like non-things, and then I started getting political.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just basically, as soon as COVID started kicking off, I started getting more of a dick.
That's right. I remember. So I
had to get rid of 500 followers or something. So I had like 900 followers or something for like jokey lip sync stuff because I was doing them for my niece, and then my brilliant Scottish friend. I've said this story before. My great Scottish friend Mark. He said, why don't you stop doing those fucking happy fucking lip sync shit? Why don't you just look down the camera and say the fucking shit you say to me?
Yeah.
And I went, right? Because I used to do walk and talk, so I used to send him messages, and he was like, just fucking do that.
Yeah.
And I did, and then I got rid. So initially I lost 500 followers.
Just this purge of people who were like, I like the lip sync stuff.
Well, as soon as I went like COVID is real, conspiracies are bollocks, women should have equal rights, etc. Everybody just went, no, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? The same people who would be into lip sync videos. It's like, what level of... I'm not casting aspersions.
Oh, yeah, no, go
I'm just
for it,
saying
yeah,
there's a certain IQ level of people who might be into lip sync videos and twerking videos and shit, and maybe they're not, at our intellectual level politically, John.
The strangest thing, Aidan, you did it a lot faster than me, but all I did was do... Initially, was stand-up stuff that I do anyway, like have done. And the other thing is, my friends are in their element, and I can always see them nudging each other when I'm really fucked off. They're like, he's quite funny most of the time. Yeah. When he's really fucking angry, that's when you get the gold. Like, he's really fucking angry.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
He's gonna be a prick. Excellent.
Like, there's some sort of social collateral in being able to rant well. I think. I
agree, and I think swearing well. I think like honestly, I think there's an art form to giving people the finger, like for it to be perfect and the perfect execution. Like, I even think the person you did it to kind of goes, "That was pretty good."
Yeah. If you're on the receiving end of somebody
a well
flipping,
placed finger, I just think people go.
Or even just like certain phrases. There's a bit in a Chris Rock sketch where he's talking about how he's trying to make his wife happy, his then wife, and how it exhausts him. And he's like, you should just wake up every day, drag your sorry ass into the bathroom, stare at yourself in the face in the mirror, and then just go out there and try and make this bitch happy. Like you should just stare yourself in the face. And he's like, you should just tell yourself, fuck you. Like, it's so, like, visceral and acerbic, but, like he's the perfect guy. The tone, the delivery. There's a lot of people who can't give a good fuck you.
Yeah, I always think, I had an argument with a guy outside the post office. This was, like, not that long ago. October, I was riding my bike.
Yeah.
It's difficult to explain, but it's a give way narrowing. And I got to the give way first, so I went over it, and I'm turning right.
Yeah.
And the dickhead kept coming.
What a prick.
And we both were going to the post office. But the funnier thing was, when somebody tries to argue with you in public,
yeah,
if you've already got like a bucket of ammunition and you're looking at somebody who's waving a fly swat at you, you're like, yeah, motherfucker, this is Mortal Kombat. And they just put up, finish him. You're done. I was doing I was going, I was so pleased with how eloquently it went as well. It was like, if you're doing stand up and you're getting shit and you go, I've got the mic, dickhead. Like, has always been my defense is, somebody's going for you. Yeah. And you go, that could have been the funniest fucking joke in the world, mate. But I'm amplified. I can say anything and you're going to lose because they don't know what you're saying.
If you so it's what you're referring to is almost like a sort of linguistic conversational rant version, rant take on like a guy running up behind someone in an alleyway, and then when he actually gets to the person that he's about to jump, they turn around and they've already got the keys.
yeah, exactly. He pulled up, and then I thought I was just putting my bike down. I wasn't doing anything. I'd already called him. I called him a fuckface as he kept coming, and I went across. He went, and I said, what are you doing, fuckface? And just carried on with what I was doing. I wasn't angry, and I put my bike up, and then he pulled into the car park. He was about mid-60s, balding, driving a Land Rover, and then he put his window down, and I thought, you're a fool. How do you think this is going to go? And he went, what did you say? And I said, are you deaf as well as stupid? Sorry. I said, you're a fuckface. Like, this is the, and then I'm like, whatever's going next, I'm just going to smash it back. Let's go for it. Yeah. He said something like, do you often talk to people like that? And I said, only fuck faces. Yeah. Like, just standing in the car park. I really wanted to go, anybody want to get in? It's like, I'm going to do a 5-spot. Yeah. This one fucking dude.
The thing that's amusing about it is, like, it's not that people get wound up. Oh, like, everyone gets wound up.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I've driven like a maniac and pissed people off, and I'm sure that other people have driven like maniacs and pissed me off also. But the thing that gets me is when in their mind they're like, yeah, I'm going to have to say something. Like, how do you think, like you said a minute ago, how do you think this is going to go? Like what level of delusion and ego is there floating around in that noggin?
If a guy on a push bike calls you a fuckface with no anger, don't pull over. Like, it's a bad idea. Yeah. That's a guy with a bucket full of machine gun ammo. Stop. Fuck off. Leave it. Well, you can't win.
That's the giveaway as well, isn't it? Is it if he is angry and you're calm? Like,
he was absolutely furious. Like, really, really, really angry. And the other thing was, I was thinking, the double is, I'd got half a foot on him, and he's 25 to 30 years older, well out of shape. What's the best? You have to have a gun on the back seat, or this is going to go really fucking wrong. Like, fuck off. I just don't
like. Yeah, I'm amazed like how they think it's a good idea to. I mean, I'm sort of like it's worthy of praise in some respects, because let's say that you were in the wrong in that instance, and then he comes up to you, like, it's kind of brave to walk up to somebody that you don't know, who's like 20 years younger, who's bigger than you, to try and get them to self-appraise and go like, oh fuck,
But everyone's done that. Have you ever, I'm sure you've done this, you're at a T-junction and something's going on in your head, you do it the wrong way around. So you look right. This is a very country thing. People don't understand this. Your last view at a T-junction is right anyway. You go the wrong way around and you look right first, then left, and then ease out of the junction. And then
Sorry.
And then out the corner of your eye, you see somebody's actually coming, and you brake, and then you do the double hands up. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was all me. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, though, have you ever done it when you go, well, but, and they generally might get a little shake of the head or something, like, or they might just put their hand up, like, I get it, I've done it.
Yeah.
If they then go mad after you put your hands up, the weird thing is that then you do it. Like, you go, sorry about that. And they go, fucking idiot. And you go, I'm not a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I'm positive that's happened, and I'm positive I've been in both situations, like instances.
I hate the T-junction thing, because I used to ride motorbikes. Is my personal hatred is looking at the right, left. It's wrong. I'm like, no, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Look at the one where you've got to cross live traffic last. Do that, you fucking idiot.
My one of my oldest friends, I won't name her on here. I'll call her Vicky.
It's always difficult when you do that.
I was like, should I start it with the same letter? Should I should it be similar? Like, anyway, let's call her Vicky, right? So I was in the car with her, and she was a bit of a skater chick, and I was a faux skater boy, and we were driving back from the skate park, and I think we had just had a cider or maybe two in our irresponsible days, like early 20s, and there's this side road in Maidenhead, and she takes a left down it, and there's cars parked on either side of this side road.
Right.
And it's too narrow to get two cars through there, really, but you could just about do it. And she squeezes her little Peugeot through this side road, and then this older lady, who must have been in her, I guess about her 60s, thereabouts, is coming through. And it's not clear to me who's in the wrong here, because we've just pulled off the main road into the side road, but then the older lady is also trying to get through, and it's just too narrow. Anyway, they like, the cars don't touch, but there must have been about 3 millimeters in it, and the wing mirrors just like push each other back. And then as it becomes clear that they're coming closer, like their windows are just like about to align, the older lady starts winding down her window, and I'm sat in the passenger seat going like, oh no, don't, this is the wrong fucking day for you, like, please don't. Yeah. Because this girl Vicky is like, she just does not hold back. Like, she always like gave as good as she got. She was mouthy, and anyway, so this older lady pulls down the window and then says, and like Vicky winds down her one as well, and she goes, can't you drive, you silly cow, like that. And then Vicky just takes this like dragon's draw breath in and just goes, yeah, that's why I'm sat behind a wheel of my own car driving my car, you old cunt. And I'm just, whoa! Like,
it is the showstopper. The C-bomb in that mode is like the showstopper.
Yeah.
That's an amazing one. You reminded me of basically my friend, I just trying to think how long ago this was now, fucking hell. Right. My friend's dad was proper Suffolk. Right. He was just lovely with it, but proper Suffolk. He had, I don't know if listeners know what I'm talking about, but there's a thing quite big in the 60s, 70s in the UK called a DA haircut, which is duck's arse haircut.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know what that is, go and have a look. Basically, the back of their head looks like a duck's arse.
Yes.
He'd got a DA, and he'd got big lamb chop sideburns.
Yep.
And he wore those glasses that used to be on the back of the magazines that fall out the newspaper. It says like, do you want to be able to see in the dark? Do you get dazzled when you're fishing? Well, buy these aviator glasses. So they were sort of aviator glasses, right, but they were an almost orange lens in them.
Okay, so let me just back up. Let me replay this back to you. So, lamb chops, sideburns, ducktail back and sides like that. Aviator glasses
with orange lenses.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. I'm getting a sort of porn star sort of vibe in my head, but fine.
But
do continue.
But I'm really crap at a Suffolk accent, which is quite terrible because I've lived here for 30 years. But he kind of talked like that. Right, here we are. One of them. It's more Somerset. Still rubbish, but it was fine. Right. His name was Len, which is the perfect fucking name if you look like that.
Yeah.
He looked like that. His name was Len. Right. And he was salt of the earth. He was fucking awesome. And he drove a Fiat Regatta. Yeah. Which looks like a car that Homer Simpson drew. Horrible piece of shit. Anyway, we're driving down a country road, and this fucking asshole was riding his arse and then decided on a bend to overtake. went round. Len didn't blink, didn't beep, didn't do anything. Right? Nothing. Didn't even go. Didn't even tut. Not even a shake of the head. Just keeps driving. We keep driving down the road. About 5 miles down the road, we get to a T junction. Nobber's still in front, and he's turning right. Len's turning left. Len pulled up next to him, leant over, no speed at all, didn't even look, still staring out the front of out the windscreen, leant over and slowly started putting the window down. Starts putting the window down. This bloke looks over, presses his button, then still there, like very deliberately putting it down. And he looked straight at this guy's eyes and went, wanker. And then looked back out the windscreen and started slowly doing the window up.
Yeah, calm.
And he didn't even move, did nothing, didn't do shit, just went wanker and then put it straight back up again.
Like, I wish I'm such a pussy. Like, there's people who I would love to have screamed at, like, on the road or, caught up to and give them a piece of my mind, John. But it's just, I just know that the one time I do it, the guy will pull out a machete and I'll be like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. That was silly.
Well, the thing is what you've always got to watch for is how ready they are for it, and it not based on their physical appearance. So if they're really ready for it, but they're quite small, and you would think, well, I could take them easy. If they're really up for it, just fuck off, because there's a reason they're really up for it.
Yeah. I
remember my mate. He's about 6'3". He was a Royal Engineer, and we were in the pub, and there was this little lad who was like, I don't know, just 18, going, yeah, do you want to take it outside? Do you want to take it outside? And I was like, don't go outside, Dan. And then he went, I'll just go outside, lump him, I'll come back in. And I was like, he is going to stab the shit out of you.
Yeah. There's a few sort of warning signs there. Like, why is he so keen?
He's really up for this. He's really up for it. I mean, Dan had got 6 stone on him, like easy, 6 stone. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't be as eager if I was that young man.
Yeah, there's something there. Like, either he's got something in his pocket that's very sharp, or he's got like 5 of his mates outside waiting to jump him.
I just said you won. I said, just if anybody asks, I'll say you won. Because who cares? Sleep.
Yeah. Can I just say, you go away and tell everyone that you beat me up. It's fine, and then I get to stay here and continue drinking. Is that cool? Like,
I was like, that guy's got something. He's got a hammer.
Let's talk a bit about Andrew Tate, because that's obviously the big story of the day. And you and I could shit talk for hours about any, like, driving, beer, relationships, clouds.
But Andrew Tate's good. Andrew Tate is good.
But yeah, let's try and stay topical with the host of the On Topic podcast.
Thanks, man.
So, big story for like, on the off chance that people who are listening or watching this have not caught up, they're not up to speed with all things Tate. This guy is a sort of TikTok misogynist. I think he did kickboxing, right?
Yes.
And he's got himself in a spot of bother because he tweeted Greta Thunberg, the eco-activist, a load of sort of teasing, jabbing things about his car collection and emissions. And so then she claps back and says, yeah, email it to this address and suggest that he has a tiny penis and to get a life.
It was beautiful. I have to, like, it was great. You know, when there's nothing better than that. When sometimes we've done it to each other. We send each other the comment because they don't realise. You know, when you lean them in, they give you the shitty comment. You reply because you know what they're gonna fucking write.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do it. And I'm like, oh, you just ask anything, and they go, well, that's because of this, and you'll go, no, bang.
Well, they never know. They never realise that they're affording you fuel for
so good.
Like, they'll say something dumb or accusatory, that's the word that I'm looking for, or judgmental, or just plain snarky, and then you have a one-liner or two-liner to use as the foundation to ferment a joke from that makes you look good.
Well, exactly. Well, this because what we do have done different things in stand-up. So where, as a compare like type thing, you're looking for the most minute, because all the time what I'm doing when somebody's interacting with me, especially just because of the world we live in, you're looking for things they can change.
Mm.
So you don't go for the like. You're not doing fat jokes. We're not doing old jokes, young jokes, like stuff like that. So you're looking. It's the minutiae of something. I remember doing like 3 minutes. Oh no, it was just a quick one. There was a guy walking towards me, and he was wearing a Game of Thrones t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I spotted it the second he stood up, but was going. I said something like, "Can you come far?" And he went, no, it's only about 30 miles." And I went, "Oh, that's good." I said, "Nice t-shirt." And he went, "Yeah." And I went, "What is it again?" I can't see it. And he said, "Game of Thrones." And I said, "Fair enough. That's you're making it difficult." And he said, "What?" And I said, "If you can just put, 'I've never had sex before.' People understand. It's just less guessing."
Yeah.
And he was walking towards me like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can change your t-shirt. That's an open joke. I'm allowed that. It's fine. It's no problem at all. He didn't like it. I did one. I had one guy who he looks exactly like a geography teacher walking towards me, and I did every single thing I could think of. And as he passed my wife, he was muttering under his breath, "Hate that cunt. Hate that cunt. Hate that cunt."
Maybe he was just a really good judge of character, John. I don't know. But...
The only good thing about that gig is that I was on a balcony and he couldn't do anything about it.
Hmm. But then actually, so this is an interesting thing. So if we take it back to the Greta and
Yeah. Sorry.
And Tate thing, so he takes the piss out of her about emissions and being an eco-activist. Then she fires back and makes a small dick joke, which should fall into the bucket of what you're talking about. It's like, can he change his small
But he'd
penis?
already done it. But then, no, we're back to the car park, aren't we? We're back to don't take your window down. That's what he did.
Yeah.
He put the window down. And Greta's like, "You sure you want to take the window down?
Yeah.
This could be a fucking error."
He ran up on her and she had the keys in her knuckles. Yeah.
The other thing is, Greta Thunberg has a magical ability to fuck off outrageously misogynistic, thick as shit men. She just does. Just her very existence annoys them. Jeremy Clarkson. I remember when. I know it's news to some people that Jeremy Clarkson's a bellend, but to anyone with a fucking brain, they worked that out a long time ago. So he'd already, tried to get her on for size. But he doesn't do it. He wouldn't do that Twitter thing because he knows he's. And the other thing is, 50 people would write a joke for Greta. Like, no, we don't even know that she wrote that joke. Someone else went, "Fucking write this." Like, because I didn't do that. If she was my mate, I'd go, "Fucking, this is the answer."
I've often wondered, like, if there should be, maybe there already is, but there should be a WhatsApp group with left-leaning comedians.
There is.
Who is there? Like, where people can go like, right, just be part of this, and then when you get in some bother, like if Megan, for example, gets in a spot of bother and becomes, flavour of the month on the alt-right circuit again, she should be able to go into a WhatsApp group and then go to, like, I don't know, fucking Ed Byrne and Lenny Henry.
They normally have about 3, because somebody came out the other day as a writer for. They wouldn't say who it was. But it is exactly what you just said.
Like,
it was
like someone else's Twitter account kind of thing, or
yeah,
because it's weird, isn't it? We would never assume that does happen, but I'm sure
we know it does. Well, we know Matt Wancock is not in charge of his own TikTok. I know that for a fact.
Really? Who's doing his TikTok for him?
No idea. I called him a murderer 3 times. He hasn't heard anything about it. Like, he said something like, "I really need to get back to what I'm good at," and I said, "Murdering pensioners." That seems a bit much. Nothing happened. And there's all these people like thanking Matt and all this. And somebody called me and they went, "Oh, a troll." And I went, "No, that's my name and my face. And I'm calling him a murderer." There's no troll. He is a murderer.
Yeah.
And they said, and I said, "But you're under the stupid illusion that he's doing this. He's writing these fucking posts. I'm not. I think there's someone in PR who's going, I'm just going to leave the murderer comment. I don't care."
That's an excellent point.
He is a fucking murderer.
Yeah, it's sort of like there's a sort of crushing irony there, isn't there? It's like they're calling you almost like a fake, mischievous internet person.
No,
meanwhile, it's not Matt Hancock. It is someone else, like behind the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally calling him a murderer. That's me. There we go. There's my followers. There's everything about me. And I'm saying you're a fucking murderer. And you're saying, don't troll him. I'm not. This is a 19-year-old PR person writing this shit down. They go, "Will you be in charge of Matt Hancock's fucking TikTok?" Do I have to?
Yeah. It's like a summer job or something, like, oh, I guess. All right.
What I like to do anyway, turning back to Greta Thunberg, when I I remember talking to a friend of mine, lovely guy, and this is not because he's realised the error of his ways. We were talking about Greta Thunberg probably about 2 years ago now, and he said he put a joke on Facebook, just like one of those. I don't know. It was like some fucking meme thing, and I just thought, oh, let's have the conversation. Didn't have it on Facebook. I messaged him, and I went, oh, I saw the Greta Thunberg thing. And he said, do you like it? And I said, I don't get what the problem is with her. And he said, little shit, being a smart ass. And I said, she's a pretty clever young lady. She really is. And she's making waves and people are listening. I think, people need to listen and stuff. But what I'm worried about is I don't understand what about her age has angered you? Oh, I just think she's a little fuckface know-it-all. And I said, how old's your oldest daughter? He's got 2 daughters. I said, how old's your oldest daughter? And I think Greta Thunberg was 16 at the time. And he said, I won't say her name. Mildred, she's 16. And I said, right, if we were out, because I know both his kids, I said, if we were out and we were all chatting and stuff like that, and you went off with your daughter, and I heard somebody say, I hate that little fucker. She's such a know-it-all. I said, I hope you'd believe that I would threaten them in the first case and take them off their feet in the second. And he went, I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah.
You're mad. They're the same fucking age.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's also like, I sense that the issue that they have with people like Greta Thunberg, with Meghan Markle, with Femi, with anyone who campaigns for a left-leaning or progressive or environmental or anti-racism cause, my sense is that because they themselves have a hard time with empathy, that they then feel that everyone else would also have a hard time with empathy. And so if they then pretend to show that they care about something, actually all they're doing is pretending. And so then your friend or Piers Morgan or whoever else, the accusation from them, the stance from them is like, I don't trust that bitch because who fucking cares about the environment? None of us do. She's just pretending to. Like, it's projection in its purest form when you see people like that. I
honestly really believe this too. We've definitely talked about this off air because I try to preach at people this. There is a moment in your life where a few things happen that I think once you've crested that hill, do you know when people kind of talk about maturity? I think there's a thing. I think once you're okay with whatever the fuck happens, well, understanding you're going to die, right? Which I think is step 1 to maturity, right? Yeah. Understanding that you are all in the same, you're not special, you're going to die. That's number 1. I think empathy is a huge part of that. And the third part of this crest of this hill is knowing what you're good at is no life skill, right? It's really actually, it doesn't really make any difference because it's self-evident. If I don't need in my life, because if I'd done a gig and then somebody booked me afterwards, right, I already know now. I don't need to know. I'm aware that I can. That's a thing I can do. Is do that and then do this, right? And I'm very, very, very glad of that. That's no skill though. Knowing what you're shit at and being vocal about it is such a huge thing. And I appreciate, when somebody I think it's amazing when someone can play a musical instrument or paint or something. Your first instinct, your natural shit show in your brain from evolution is, well, I could probably fucking do that if I tried. Which is really shit. It's like really stupid. Instead of going, well, there's zero evidence that that's true. You go. If I had 5 fucking years and a pen, I could bloody do the Mona Lisa. I fucking couldn't. Just appreciate that other people can do something. I think that's so huge a thing.
It's a bit then equally as big as that, I think, is, or maybe they're in sort of separate parts of your life, like the earlier years of your life is, oh, Jesus. Okay, overflowing a little bit, but you're okay. You've made it through. I'll keep going. It's fine. If anyone's listening to this, John has just opened a fresh
beer
can.
It exploded.
It's beer jizzed all over his face. Yeah, I think that the first, the earlier years of your life, I feel, or maybe this is just me projecting my own thing onto everyone else, but like the earlier part of my life was shaped by discovering, albeit lately, that I could actually take something that I didn't know fucking anything about, just dick one knowledge, no skills, and then learning and honing it and actually getting to a passable standard in it is fucking giant. It's so life-changing to know that you can to take a seed and then
but you have
it.
to have that seed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah. But
like,
and
there's things I can't. Like, you write code and do those things. My dad writes code, and honestly, I think you have to have the right brain, and it's the same. There was a really great quote. It was something Lenny Henry said. Weirdly, he was talking in an interview, and he didn't used to get a writing credit on his own show because he never wrote it down.
Oh right.
So when they were sitting in the writers' room before, we could do this sketch and this sketch, and Lenny would say, "Yeah, but the punchline should be this, or we can do this as a topper." Like, they went great, and they wrote it down. But Lenny never wrote it down, so he didn't get the writing credit. And only latterly did somebody go, "That's writing."
Yeah.
And they went, no, because they went, no, that's writing. And I have the same thing. I've worked in management for 20 years.
Well, hang on a second. Did he decide? Did that enrich him as a human?
Yeah,
was he then
'cause
like,
he got a
I
credit.
am a writer. I can write.
Did. Yeah,
right.
It changed it because it just suddenly he was a writer, because previously he'd just been in everyone's minds a great performer, but not a writer because he's not in the credits. But he is. And I think that's the same with. I got into management when I was about 21, and I think it's this missed thing in my mind that managing people properly and fairly is a skill, and you can be shit at it. Just because it says manager on your payslip doesn't mean any fucking thing at all. You are. It does mean shit. I've met so many bad managers, and I can tell in a split second, because you need to do it with no ego. And the Ricky Gervais character, David Brent, his issue, it's a big thing that people do. They're not your friends.
Yeah.
Like, that can never happen. It's one of those weird things. You manage a team, which I've done in quite a few different jobs, and sometimes that's quite a hard thing to accept. But they're not your friends.
Yeah. There's a Friends episode where Chandler comes to that realization, isn't it? Like, where he realizes that it's like, oh fuck, like I am actually going to have to give. Do you know what? Like, I've had a similar realization with that, because I moved into a managerial position last year with direct reports, and it took me a long time to understand that it's okay for me to let go of like the day-to-day, like getting your hands dirty stuff. Like, I always felt like to earn my stripes, like to contribute to the team, I would have to be bug fixing and working on features and stuff. It's like, no, like you just direct and like allocate resources now. That's your job.
The only thing I worked out when I've been looking for a job recently, that I've been on call for 20 years, right, which is quite a weird thing to think, but I kind of accepted it as kind of part of my life. And there's been some really weird. I remember getting a call when I was in Paris, and my mum and stepdad had gone to sleep and whispering how to fix a computer over the phone, like press that, bring the options down, scroll that one, click it. What does it say? It says Y1596. Right, that's fine. Okay, now restart. It's working. Thanks. All right, bye.
Yeah.
Thinking I'm the worst fucking person in the world because I just do that. I was just trying to think of some other lively topic. What we hoping? Well, that can be end, can't it? What's the? You were wanting Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, like, so off the back of his exchange with Greta Thunberg, so we now know that his video that he took, I think, 10 hours to then construct and write and perform and whatever, it featured a pizza box and then the Romanian police who were looking for him were able to track his location thanks to the pizza box, and so then they arrested him and they're detaining him. And here's where it gets kind of dark. The allegations against him are, as I understand it, this is just off a WhatsApp chat group, but it's a political chat group, so I sort of trust the intel that I'm getting. The allegations are pretty serious. Like it's basically there's a couple of girls. I don't know how old they are. I don't think that's been released yet. But that they were effectively kidnapped, like kept against their will, and forced to make adult movies.
Oh shit!
And passed around, as it were.
Wow.
And there's a trafficking element to this, which means that they've travelled across like foreign borders and so on. So I don't know like how dark it's getting in terms of like sharing women around to like well connected, if it's getting all Epstein-y or whatever, but it's already pretty bad, right?
The scary thing is that the supporters of this walking turd, for them, it feeds into their conspiracy theory narrative like instantly. So he doesn't even need to make up bullshit anymore. He was arrested this morning and people are already churning out. Of course they would do that. That's what they do.
Oh yeah. Did you see?
Of course they fucking arrest. He's never met those girls in his life. Then they said, because you know, when you're not a space cadet or one of as stupid as these people, you're like, what the fuck? There were people saying that's why he stepped out of Matrix. What are we playing? What did you say?
Oh God, sorry.
That's why he's out of Matrix.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's a Keanu Reeves film from the 90s. What are we doing now?
But it's no worse. It's no worse than like the QAnon stuff. Like everyone's
no.
Everyone's lives are so shit now that they are just living in these fantasies. Oh yeah, it's QAnon. He's gonna save America from pedophiles. Oh, what's happening with this guy over here? Oh, it's the Matrix. The fucking agents from the Matrix are after. Like, will you grow the fuck up and live in reality?
When Trump lost, I remember the QAnon fuckers were like, there was, you know, because he just scroll, like fuck off, scroll, and they were like, yeah. And then I was in an interview with I can't remember his name, TikToker has a great thing. He was interviewing people at a Trump rally, and one of them went, yeah, Joe Biden's pretending to be the president right now, and my ears picked up like, what are we doing? And they went, but Trump is really the president because he's preparing. And I'm like, I'm about to scroll because he's preparing for the comeback of JFK. What are we fucking doing now? I've seen footage of that man being shot in the head. There's no fucking way.
Yeah. Did you see the footage so that was about 6 months ago, a year ago or something, where there was people queuing up, like totally believing that this was going to be the second coming of JFK or was it John F. Kennedy or was it Jack Kennedy or I can't remember now, but yeah, it was a Kennedy and they thought he was going to come back to life. And I'm like, I mean, it starts with the Pizzagate pedophile stuff. You know, now we're getting into like the reanimation of dead presidents and shit. Like, what? I mean, where does this stop, John?
Weird.
Does it stop at the top of a hill with a tub full of Kool-Aid? Can we just fifth gear to that bit, please?
Yeah, that's the trouble. When I've had this discussion with people before as well. I think there's a whole issue around the 90. It's the 90 IQ problem. You're thick, but you're not. You're thick, but you're too thick to know you're thick. But yeah.
It's what they call you
can function. Nothing really makes any difference. But people go, you know, they put microchips in that vaccine. I'm not having it.
Yeah.
What the fuck? No, you didn't.
It's they call it the Dunning-Kruger effect, don't they?
Yes, they do call it Dunning-Kruger.
It's when you're too stupid to know that you're stupid.
Yeah, and the two guys, Dunning and Kruger, who wrote the paper, the brilliance of the Dunning-Kruger effect is everybody has been affected by it. And to some degree, it's the same bell curve when you first start learning a subject, what your idea of how much you know about it is. So basically, the longer you study anything, the more you realise you don't know shit. Like, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And Dunning and Kruger both said that the almost the boom point was realising that everyone fucking has it, but they're not a problem. Like it's actually fine if you're anything, anything over 100, you'll be all right IQ wise. But anything below that, you don't, even if it's explained to you why you're fucking wrong, you're too dumb to understand that.
Yeah, but then I also think there's another subset of people who are above that IQ, but are so that you've got the too dumb to know, and then over here you've got the too arrogant.
I don't think it's possible. I think once you get to like a certain level, I think there's definitely people who do it on purpose. I don't believe that Katie Hopkins believes the things she says, right? Because
no,
she's a fucking lunatic, and she almost timetables being a lunatic. That nobody believes that shit. She's mad. And I would put Jeremy Clarkson in that. He isn't stupid. He used to write very acceptable books on like the beginnings of engineering. Like I remember his explanation of Brunel's Great Eastern. Is it Great Eastern? Or the SS Great Eastern, whatever the fuck it was called, the Brunel's ship.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was a really great bit. Like it was really, really good. This was probably end of the 90s, early 2000s. I thought that's quite good. I mean, it's not, you're not going to be in the fucking British Museum or anything, but I thought that was all right. And then he kind of went, and then he went mad. Biggest problem in the world is woke people. No, it isn't, Jeremy. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's indicative of where we're at now, what Otto English refers to as polytainment. It's this sort of like one of the biggest bread earners, one of the biggest ways to gain traction, to get followers, is to sit within the sort of politics entertainment space, which is your Katie Hopkins, your Darren Grimes. It's like they've all got book deals. They all get, a grander show when they're appearing on stuff. The more outrageous shit they say and that they're forced to defend on a panel when they're guest on LBC or Good Morning Britain or whatever, the more they're invited back in the future. And in fact, like I'm not going to get anyone into trouble, but I've heard from reliable sources that some of these right-wingers that go on these shows, they know and they admit it as soon as the cameras are off. As soon as you're in the green room with them, they say this shit out like straight face. They go, oh yeah, I mean, like I'm just into making good TV, or I'm just here to give a good debate. I know we should save the NHS, but that's not good TV. Like they are that fucking flagrant about it.
Supposedly, almost every MP interviewed about Liz Truss, when the cameras went off, they went, I mean, how long do you think she's got? And they went, about a week. She's a dickhead. And they went, well, why did you say that?
Yeah.
I can't say that. And then off they go. And the other one, you get some really. I remember when Andrew Marr actually had teeth. He was all right. And they fucking told him to calm down. But there used to be, under Boris, there were two people you wheel out when you've got nothing. Right, everything's fucking wrong, and you're fucked. Right, one of them's Theresa Coffey. She'll say the company line, doesn't make any difference. You could be going, the whole, like in the background, Parliament's on fire, and you're going, do you remember that the Foreign Affairs Minister in Iraq, when they were kind of going, the bombers are here, and he was going, no, they're not, and they're behind him.
Yeah.
Theresa Coffey's like, we'll say, the COVID strategy doesn't seem to be working. 700 people died yesterday. Have you got anything to say about that? Seemingly, it's working fine.
Yeah.
Is the idea to kill 700 people a day? I just want to say that the strategy is working fine. And so one was Therese Coffey, and the other one was Michael Gove, would basically say anything. And I always think Mar or Laura Thingy must have been sitting there thinking, and they're like, clearly, because you don't know how the fucking week's going to go. They go, we've got an MP. They've got to be a front bench, and they're here Sunday morning, and they're like, right, I'm ready. And are we going to get you'll get it confirmed 8:00 on Saturday? Hi, Laura. Yeah, we've got it confirmed. Who is it? It's Michael Gove. For fuck's sake.
Yeah, just straight. As soon as you see Gove's name on the rota, you must be like, oh, fucking great. Like slithery, snaky, disingenuous, like, yeah. I mean, I saw his interview with Femi actually. This was about 2 or 3 months ago. Don't know if you saw it.
I haven't seen that actually. The one in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have
so he tries, like Femi's trying to sort of pin him down about stuff, trying to ask him questions that nobody else appears interested in asking him. And Gove just does his Go thing. He just says like, I'm sorry, you know, I don't know who you are. So then Femi says, you know, well, my name's Femi and I do stuff. Anyway, back to the question. Blah, blah. And he's just dodging and ducking. And then he's like, I'm terribly sorry, you know, I have to go. And it's like, God, like, can we just fucking, oh shit, my U-turn.
Your camera's gone.
I was about to say, can we just U-turn out of this this period where they're able to dodge and duck scrutiny? Like, that is something that needs to change in the next couple of years, or people are going to start burning Parliament down.
And we're now so far past what I think is almost a discernible truth. I'm on your laptop, by the way, now.
Yeah, I know. I'm switching.
Oh, okay. We're now so far past it that people like Nick Ferrari seem reasonable. Yeah. You know, and he goes, "Oh, I'm actually, I think that you know, burning children for fuel isn't a great idea." All right, Nick, fuck off. You fucker, hate your guts. You fucking idiot. He tries to swing, unlike he's trying to create a persona where he's a lefty. I bet he's only a lefty if the sandbank his house is built on is slipping away underneath it. Oh, I do believe in climate change. I thought you said you didn't. No.
Yeah,
I do.
So the thing with Nick Ferrari is sometimes I get myself in bother by defending him because I know a lot of people hate him, and there's there's editions of his morning show with LBC where I sit there floor-jawed at the ignorance, like particularly when he's talking about private schools. That was a big thing the other week. People's mortgages are fucking doubling, gas bills, electricity bills, propelling people into fuel poverty, and this motherfucker's sitting there going like, well, you know, I don't know what it's going to do to inequality and social mobility if we increase if we add VAT to private school fees. How are these motherfucker? My camera's gone again.
Really, ain't you?
Yeah. But yeah, so he's sat there like defending private schools effectively, and I'm sat there thinking, number one, mortgages are doubling. This is not the issue of the day. What the fuck are we doing talking about this? Number two, you were privately educated. So why the fuck is Nick Ferrari sat there on LBC interviewing? He was interviewing the headmistress of a private school. Like, no, let's get some fucking balance. Let's have Nick Ferrari interviewing the headmistress of a private school to tell us what it's going to do to social mobility. Get the fuck off the radio, you utter clown.
It's worth talking because we've definitely spoken about this privately. I want someone to explain something to me, because I think I'm right about this. So I think shit's about to get really interesting.
Right.
So at the moment, you just mentioned mortgages, and you just said, well, you know, that isn't the headline where it should be, because we're about to do something that's never been done, but like has never been done in this reality effectively. Like previously, because we're not talking 2007 housing dip. That's not what we're talking about. That was a huge problem with basically people being given credit when they shouldn't have been, and that's what the banks did. If you want to fuck about subprime mortgages, was the whole shebang. And the problem with subprime mortgages is the emperor's new clothes, when he hasn't got any fucking clothes, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
And then we had to become, and as soon as it was always going to fall, but someone just had to notice. Now we're not talking about that. So now we have to be going back to the late 80s crash is what we were now. That's what we've got to, that's our nearest view of what was about to happen.
You mean like a sort of reference point in terms of what...
Fuck 2007. That's not what we're talking about. That was banks acting in a terrible way because they make more money long term by people who can't afford mortgages being given mortgages. They are begging to do that. They love it. It's their favorite.
And can I just interject here that the problems that we're about to face, the crash that we're about to envelope in,
yes,
is probably the crash that we should have had in 2008, 2009.
Exactly.
But they've kicked the can down the road for over a decade by allowing people to have...
waiting for this to happen.
Yeah.
It's just tensed up like fuck. So, but the difference between in 88, 89 is that when this happened then, you could fuck it off. right? You had a house, and there was a moment in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, where people were posting their own keys back through their front door and ringing up the bank and saying, "Oh yeah, you've got a new house," and then going. Right, so they were going, "I can't afford this. That means I've defaulted on my mortgage. A bet's a bet. It's yours," and walking off. But you're not allowed to do that anymore. That's not. They took that. You can't do that. You're not allowed. You can't. That debt is your debt. You take it with you. It is not left at the property, which it previously was.
Right.
We've just gone through a Christmas where you would never know that people are fucked because all the politicians ignored it. All the media ignored it. Everyone, get out there and get your turkeys. Make sure you buy presents for people you barely fucking know. Make sure you buy shit for idiots. Make sure, you spend so much fucking money. And I'm sitting there thinking, could we not just say, I don't know, £10 a gift? That'd be all right, wouldn't it? That'd be all right.
Yeah.
We could just go tenner a gift, have a bit of food. That'd be nice. Anyway, so we've totally fucking ignored that. January, February is always when those impacts are felt, and we are about to feel it huge. We're going to get the inflation from December because there's going to be inflation. Everyone's been paying their ridiculous gas and energy bills, and they've just gone out and wanked a load of money they haven't got on prices that are already high, which is going to do it again. And January is hell for anyone who owns a business, not going to make any fucking money in February. And this doom shit is going to accelerate. And this January, February is going to be when houses stop selling. They've already stopped selling here.
Mm.
In this village, we used to normally, if there was any houses for sale at all, there was one. Never more than one. There was one. There are currently, in the last 6 months, that has turned to 5, and they're not selling.
Yeah.
And people are ignoring it because they're going, "Oh, it's only one," and then they go, "That's only 5." It's more than quadrupled in 6 months.
Yeah.
If you do that again, if we go from 5 to 16 between then and now, that'd probably be about February. That's a real fucking problem.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this is the other side of that coin. It's like, so I'm always ranting on TikTok and indeed on the podcast about the impact that we will feel as a result of remortgaging. Our mortgage will double in real terms. Like when it actually breaks down, at the moment we're paying about £1,000 a month on our mortgage. Mm-hmm. Next year we will be paying £2,000 a month. Now that's us in a house that we already ish kind of own.
So as goes up, if nothing changes and we do nothing, ours goes up in June, will go up by £600.
Yeah. Now, this is something that will carpet bomb.
Electricity be fucked. So it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. So you've got immediately a working class who are going to feel this, because this is the other thing, is everyone's talking about mortgages. This is absolutely going to bleed out into the buy-to-let rental sector, because so many fucking investors have buy-to-let mortgages, which are already very, very expensive. So people who rent are going to get hit with double rents. But people think £1,000 a month at the moment is bad. Right? Oh, my landlord's making a killing. No, you haven't seen anything yet.
But this is the question I was going to ask, which I need somebody explaining to me. So I think that when the housing market gets flooded, that's when it'll tip. That's when we're really going to see the accelerated devaluing of houses, which is normally what happens. Now, the person who is holding the straw that breaks the camel's back is going to get away scot-free. And we're talking about someone with a portfolio, probably 50 student houses in Nottingham. Say, he is coming up to the end of the year, end of March. He's got to get his accounts in. Now, his accountant is going to be telling him just after New Year's, going to ring him. "Hello, Roger. Hello. You know those 50 houses you've got?" "Yes." "They've gone up 50% in value in the last 10 years. "I know, bloody brilliant. You need to fucking get rid of them." "Why?" "You're about to lose a shitload." "Oh, what do I do?" "Reduce the price by 10% and put them all on the market now." And Roger is going to tank the market because he's going to throw 50 two-bedroom, semi-detached houses on the market in a small town, or in a city like Nottingham. That's enough. That will tip the lot. And the key with the other thing about the market is it doesn't go top down, it goes bottom up, always has done. So once the arse has fallen out of the bottom of the market, the rest is destabilized entirely and will fuck off because of the chains within marketing. Always, your £2 million houses, they don't go up, but they don't come down. They're 2 million quid. They're fine. They're safe. My mate used to work at a place that sold yachts. Yacht sales don't go up and down. You can afford a yacht or you can't afford a yacht. There's no middle ground. They're just the same year on year, same snack. Now here's my issue. So Roger gets rid of his 50, and he's the first one, and he gets out scot-free. He's going to lose 10%. He's not going to lose 20. Everyone after Roger's going to lose 20% because Roger's going to get rid of 40 of his fucking places. Don't forget he was already on a 50% margin. Doesn't really matter if he takes a loss on the last 5. Every other prick who owns 3, so they're one of these wannabe Gordon Gekko pricks who have bought a house. They bought their first house, didn't sell it. They just kept it and they're renting it out. As you say, they went on a buy-to-let mortgage, which is a tracker. So it's heading for the sky. They've got their normal house and they've got the rental that they're paying a tracker on. I think what will actually happen is that the rental market will get flooded, which will then do the opposite of what you're saying. I think the rental prices are going to go down because £1 is more than nothing. I think a lot of people who weren't going to rent out their house, they just wanted to move, are going to end up with a house stuck on the market, and then they'll be, it just makes more sense. They can't get rid of it. I've just told you, they can't give it back to the bank. They've got you might as well make 500 quid. And I think there'll be a race to the bottom in the rentals because that market will be flooded as well.
How, if that market's flooded though, because this was my doomsday scenario, was that like, so we try to remortgage, we can't afford it, we don't pass the affordability checks or whatever, then we're forced to sell the house at a time when, as you're suggesting there, everyone else is selling at the same time, right? We live in a 3-bed semi in a home counties town that nobody really wants to live in anyway, in a good month. So let's assume that everyone is selling here. So then the market value of a 3-bed semi in this town is going to come down.
Yes.
No one's going to buy it, or if they do, we're going to be in negative equity. We will be then propelled out into the rental sector. And because there will be so many other families also propelled out into the rental sector, there'll be a scram for properties at the same time, which means that an overheated rental market at the moment, where it costs $1,300 or $1,500 in this town for a 3-bed, it's going to be like $3,000 or some shit.
I'm sorry, in a sad, shitty way, I think there are nuances within it. So I think that your 1-bed flats are going to be, they're going to tank out. That people will just keep on living with their parents. So that's what will keep. And those people who were wanting to rent will go from, say they were at the moment they're asking 800 quid. You only need to begin a race to the bottom. So if somebody else is asking for 800 quid, and 800 quid is better than nothing, and they go, and their neighbour sees they're asking for that, because we're talking about whole blocks of flats that are owned by people who let them out. So that suddenly the value dips, but the mortgage goes up because of the tracker. Their neighbour's going to go, we could make it for 750. We're just about, we'll have to put a bit in ourselves, but we can make it. And then I think they're going to top out, and I think they're going to start coming down. At that section, I agree. Your 3-bedroom semi is its own thing, because if you live in a place where there are lots of 3-bedroom semis, then I think the rental market will flood as well. I just think that it's more nuanced than they're claiming it is, because I've seen landlords saying, we'll put up the rent, and then what are you going to do? Not move in, you fucking dickhead.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is like, if they double the rent, as I would assume that they would do,
which is
if
impossible.
their mortgage
No
doubles,
one's gonna pay that.
People will just fucking move out, right?
Yeah, just get a van and live in it. There's no way that's going to work.
But then you're looking at a wholesale implosion of the buy-to-let and rental market.
You are, but I think you are anyway, because Nationwide have predicted 8%, right? And we know. Nationwide, they broke cover and they've said we think the market's going to contract 8%, but I think I think they're fluffing.
I think that sounds very, very blue sky to me.
Yeah, I think my guess is 20.
Yes, well, 20% was 2008.
Yeah,
I
so
would say
I think, but I think they're just tickling you slightly. I don't think they're telling the truth.
just,
8, fuck off.
just
We made
tickling the
more than
balls.
we
Just
made more than 8 during COVID. Like
yeah,
the price of our house, we've just got our remortgage valuation because you get that when they say, you know, do you want to remortgage? It's amazing how much a house is worth and it's fucking profitable for the bank. They're
yeah,
like, good news, guys, your house has gone up 80 grand.
yeah.
Anyway, June. Oh, whoa. Let's celebrate the £80,000 we haven't got, doesn't exist, and I don't care about. And I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do. It's funny, the inflation thing, they need the idea of inflation because people seem to not understand it. Sorry, there needs to be a point where people, you know, the other day they did was it Lidl, there's some new sports drink, I can't remember what it's called,
Oh
Twat.
yeah. That's all right.
Everyone was queuing up and beating each other up for a bottle of Twat.
Oh God.
If you can still afford a bottle of Twat, then the market knows that inflation isn't high enough to push down the interest rate. And that is what inflation, that's what happens, is that we cannot end up with the inflation at 20% just to stop you buying bottles of Twat at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're in a really fucking weird situation because then we end up with breaks off inflation. Then we end up with 35% inflation.
But then that's just a different fucking market, isn't it? Like the people who are buying that shitty energy drink, which let me just say, wait till you try
Sarah's
a beer.
told us in chat, Prime.
Prime.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's called Prime.
they were like, it's only £2 a bottle. Fuck off. Vocation's £1.40. Get on the train, mate.
Have a fucking beer, for fuck's sake.
Your life feels slightly better when you've had beer. Doesn't do the same with weak squash. Leave it.
Yeah, but it's like if there are people queuing up to buy cans of Prime, I would probably assume that they are not people who are worried about remortgaging. I think that's probably like, you know, a 19-year-old who works in the local gym and like.
But again, like everything, you know, when somebody says, "I'm not interested in politics," you go, and then they'll say, "Oh, it's happening," and you go, "That's politics." I don't like it. You know, so I agree with you, but we can't have. You need to somehow curb consumer spending to push the inflation down. It's the only way to do it. The only way to do it is to stop people spending money to the degree they're spending money.
Here's a question, right? So, because I sense that you're more tuned into this stuff, like I just read a headline on the FT and I read a few tweets and I absorb a couple of TikToks from financial guys and I assume that I understand what's going on, but I might be wrong. I might be just completely like living in a bubble of echo chambers and algorithms and so on. So let me fire some shit at you. Let me beer jizz some information at you and see how we go. I'd be interested to get your thoughts.
You should definitely call this episode Beer Jizz, by the way.
Let's do it. Beer jizzing with John. So the inflation comes almost directly from energy prices, right?
As a percentage, yes.
Just super quick, like yes or no.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so if we solved the energy prices issue, inflation would come down.
Yes.
If you solved that, then you could presumably bring the mortgage interest rates down because the interest rates are only rising to combat the inflation.
It takes about between 3 and 4 months, but yes.
So why is the conversation not centered around energy price caps, nationalizing utilities, making energy more affordable, sustainable, rather than this sort of incredibly tedious, frustrating as fuck narrative that we see in here every day where it's just like, whoa, you know, the war in Ukraine and the energy prices and there's no inflation's up, so I guess we got to raise interest rates. It's like all you're doing by raising interest rates is making already miserable broke people more broke.
Yes, but because I was on yes and no, Absolutely, yes, that's true. Do we have any real control over that? No. In the UK,
So
no.
we can't nationalise, or
You could nationalise, but you would have to. There's no way of getting around it without paying the compensation, which is why Keir Starmer hasn't said that, hasn't brought up nationalisation. Not because Keir Starmer seems to get stuck in these. He cannot play a card when he knows what the opponent's holding, right? He can't say like all this shit with like, why doesn't he say the unions are right and etc etc etc, because they're not there. They're because it doesn't do shit. They're not in charge. Be quiet. But he does know that you could nationalize energy tomorrow, but you would have to compensate them. And we've got a huge problem where effectively Ed Miliband, when he was environment minister, he'd already, and Gordon Brown, Tony Blair's Labour, had already written the plans for the nuclear reactors and where they were going to be. One Sizewell C, one down South Dunwich or whatever, etc., etc., etc. And they did shit with it in 10 years. We know it takes 10 years to get a nuclear reactor going. They haven't been in charge for 12 years. Why is power not already being generated on those sites? We knew that wasn't going to happen. We've got this. We don't have the energy to be self-sustained, but it's inexcusable that we haven't. And I think the Tories don't want to admit. Firstly, they can't do shit about it because we're no one when it comes to the world. We're not anything. It doesn't make when it comes to oil and gas. And everybody knew for fucking ages that the Arabians have always had their hand on the oil coming in. If the price goes too low, they turn the oil off. That's happened since time immemorial. And Putin has previously proved that if the price of gas goes too low, the wholesale, he turns the tap off. This isn't anything to do with the fucking war. Had that happened, had the price gone up, what do they think that is? Less than 10% of the price hike is anything to do with Russian gas. Right? It's just fucking bollocks. So realistically, absolutely, you're right. You're absolutely correct. But we have no control over any of it at all. And the Tories have done nothing in 12 years to prevent a wholly foreseeable problem. And now we're right on it. They've promised everybody they won't. We are up until 2 weeks ago, until little tiny Rishi Sunak thought he was going to get a revolt.
Hang on a second. Little tiny, that's something he can't change. Let's just remember that.
No, but he's got short man syndrome, so I'm allowed to accelerate into it. If you're accepting your height, because as you say, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, if you dress as an optical illusion, game on. He wears trousers that are too short so that he appears tall from a distance. Fuck off. I'm going to fucking have a go at that. That's amazing. He clearly wears those funny wedges you put in your shoe. What for? Anyway, fuck him. He nearly had, when he was going to, they were thinking about banning onshore wind farms.
Yes, yeah.
And he was going to get fucked live in Parliament. They'd already said, you're going to fucking lose because Labour were going to vote. You only need 100 from them and then you're absolutely fucked. So he ditched it and pulled because he knew what was going to happen. How can we live in 2022 when the Prime Minister is about to go against positive environmental change?
Yeah. And sustainable. That's the key
thing. Like one thing we've got is wind. Shitloads of it. We've got an incredibly diverse weather system in the UK. With winds from the Atlantic, winds from the Mediterranean, and etc. and a temperate climate. And he's going, it's free energy. Fuck it.
Let me just come back though, like to the nationalisation thing, because this is something I don't fully understand. I suspect I've got a hunch as to why this doesn't happen, right? So let's say that Hunt and Sunak tomorrow said we're going to nationalise the utility companies. The blocker for them doing that is what specifically?
We'd have to pay them.
Yeah, and how much would that be? Like 60 billion?
The
30
market
billion.
value of, like, I don't know, in a realistic terms, you'd have to think, so a 5% return on it a year, say, across 20 years on total investment is what you'd have to pay them to fuck off.
Right.
Same as what a business is worth.
And so, but we could create that money, right? We could
You
just,
absolutely could.
and then what would happen?
Exactly what you said. You'd nationalise it and the price would come down. And I absolutely agree with you. But the reason they don't do it is because then everybody else, because they've sold themselves as the capitalist wankfest, it doesn't
Right.
work. But that doesn't stop them thinking it's a good idea. When you look at,
Is it, wait. Is it that, and we're sort of running a little bit over here, but is it that it would then decimate confidence in the pound
that,
and the British
more
economy?
decimate the business problem.
Yeah.
But the issue
Okay.
we've got a bigger problem than that, and you will totally see this when I say this, because people don't understand that having 3 prime ministers across a year, we've gone, and and the next one comes along, and the next one comes along, and it almost seems like, oh, all you're doing is changing the leader,
Yeah.
right? But that causes a huge issue because you end up with part plans going through. So, the banking rules just recently got changed. Effectively, all you need to know about the banking changes is they were begging to lend people money who shouldn't borrow money, right? It's a human nature to borrow it, and anybody who thinks you have to convince a bank to do that, you fucking don't, because that is they fucking love it, because not everything, insurance is a bet, a mortgage is a bet, a loan is a bet. The bank is betting against you, not for you. You bet you can pay the loan off. The bank bets you won't. The odds are what your interest rate is going to be. That is as simple as it is. And the interest rate and the odds are shit that you're going to pay it back if you're a dickhead. And they love dickheads.
Yeah.
Here's the issue. Boris changed that. Boris was the one who set it to change those rules. But it was part 1 of a plan. Part 2 of the same plan was to start giving out 50-year mortgages.
Yes.
But he couldn't do part 2 because we had thick Liz in the middle. And by the time we'd got little tiny Rishi Sunak at the helm, the market was already destabilised, knowing that the price was going to go down. So he couldn't bolster a market that didn't exist. So now we've given a fucking high school kid a gun, but we don't know where he's going. It's the stupidest shit in the world, and that's the problem with 3 leaders. Is there's no consistency across the board. Rishi Sunak shitting himself because he knows now, as has been proven, that he's now being controlled by the backbenchers with a wholly contrived bollocks view about how things are going to go. We know that's true because they got rid of fucking Boris. We know that's true because once Thick Liz had proven she was a thicko, she was fucking gone. We've now got Jeremy Hunt, a man who's had so many fucking jobs, who's proven himself to be an absolute bellend. I think the Institute for Financial Studies came out with their prediction the other day saying that the average middle class family, those earning over £65,000, will lose £40,000 over the next decade.
Yeah.
On Jeremy Fuckface's plans. So I don't know what we were expecting when people go, oh, at least he's got his head screwed on. Have you seen this penis before? He sent a letter to the GMC saying, have you seen this study on homeopathy? And the chief medical officer went, yeah, it's shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's oh god, it's enough to sort of send you fucking balmy, like how badly we're being governed and how badly we have been governed over
But we're
the last
just waiting for
5
the
years.
next one now, aren't we?
Well, this is it. Like, so I think, and from the, again, like not to sound all like, oh, I have loads of sources, loads of private sources that tell me stuff, but from the intel that I've received from the Conservative Party conference earlier in the year, it sounds like they know the game is up. Like where we were talking earlier about how, once the cameras are off, then they say, oh yeah, no, she's a complete fucking idiot and she's on the way out. Once the cameras are off there, once they were off the record, as it were, they were very happy to say like, oh, this is like last drinks on the Titanic. We know we're fucked.
Yeah, they already know Sunak says shit and no one's going to vote
Yeah.
for him.
Well, this is what, like, so he's fucking AWOL all the time. Like, he's never really out there.
I think what's astonishing for me through the polling that's been done is it is consistent across the board. People can kid themselves, but it's consistent across the board. They're still losing ground. They're still losing an average of about 2 points a month, even with Sunak at the helm. It's not working. Number one. But I think now what's become my fascination with the polling is that in this fucking environment, the Lib Dems are still losing confidence.
Yeah.
They're getting a -1 every month, and I'm like, who the fuck do anything?
Yeah. Well, maybe they just don't have the media exposure. I don't know. Like, I feel like Labour are getting a lot of PR time at the moment, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Like, my personal fear is that if and when Starmer gets in, that he'll get too comfy. He'll be like, well, that's it. We're in now. We're Labour. It's a Labour government. Now we can do whatever we like.
I think that we all have to pay off on our promise. Like, I will do this. If I promise as well. I've never done this. If Keir Starmer wins, day one, I'll join the Labour Party. Day one, and he basically, and he has to do it. And I think.
Do you mean PR or?
No, I mean he has promised now to get rid of first past the post, and I think we hold him to that.
Yeah.
And no slipping, no 2 years down the line. We want to see it, and you've got to do it. And I think that's what everybody needs to do, who believes in a better future for everybody, is that we all join the fucking Labour Party day one.
Yeah.
And hold him to account. But I think he will. I think he's stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment. And as we've seen, I'm happy to say this because I'm so fucking bored. We've seen like people like Tansky and other people who just realise we need to win at any cost now. This is it. Right? Yeah. This is all fucking cards now.
Yeah.
And Tansky's getting death threats and sexual assault threats from the fucking left.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's fucking nutty. It's like you would think that's the sort of shit that you would get from the far right. Like, oh, you fucking lefty bitch, I'm going to hunt you down. Like, no, these are people arguably in your political home. But yeah, this is absolutely the goal. It's like, get the Tories out, then we can argue amongst
fix
ourselves.
It later. Because I'm fucking bored. This is ridiculous. This is. I remember being in my mate's Volkswagen Jetta in 1998, and the car kept breaking down, and I managed to get started by cleaning off some contacts. And he said, "Oh, well, yeah, we're 10 miles away from home, but if we get the AA," and I said, "Just fucking drive as far as it'll piss and go, and when it gives up the ghost outside your house, get the fucking AA then." That's what we need to do. Get back in the shit brown Jetta, get going, get home, and we'll fix it when we get there, because this shit's dangerous. And that's what we need to do. Because the more I'm hoping that by hook or by crook, I think everybody needs to concentrate on getting Sunak out, because I don't even think the Tories think that the British public will stand another leader. I think we're going to get the general election this year, but the key is to get Sunak out. There is one chance we've got. If it's proved that Sunak knew about the COVID contracts, then he's fucked.
Yeah.
So we need a leak, which I think somebody will give us.
Well, there's enough like anti-Sunak sentiment within the Tory
we need
party,
a leak, and we need the leak to be Sunak's signature on a piece of paper, giving those PPE contracts out. Yeah. Or encouraging anybody to use somebody. We know Hancock's fucked already. He's not even going to get his own seat. We know Therese Coffey's fucked. She's going to lose her seat in Suffolk. It's never been done before.
Yeah.
That's been a Tory seat since the 70s. All these people are going to fuck.
I can't wait to see Rob ejected from power and sobbing, hopefully. Or I don't know if he'll resign. He hasn't resigned actually yet, has he, ahead of that one? But he's in a marginal seat, and the Tories are 24 points behind. So, look, I don't want to suggest that election night is going to be some sort of pornography. John,
it's going to be amazing. I'm staying up.
Come in my pants.
I think we're going to take to the streets the next day. I've already said to somebody the other day and said, when when Blair won, it felt muted because I already knew what we were going to get. Everybody kind of tries to convince me that Tony Blair was fucking amazing, but I always think I was there. He wasn't. I was working 70 hours a week for £3.50 an hour, but I didn't get paid overtime. So I always get paid 40 hours for £3.50. I remember what happened. I remember exactly what happened. Fuck off. I'm not a Tony Blair fan. I think this is going to be a very real victory.
Yeah.
And I think the streets are going to come alive with people who have finally had enough. And if he gets rid of first past the post, that's it. That's the Tories over.
Yes. Yeah.
No generation will have to put up with this shit.
And just to sort of close this out now at this stage, because we're super over time here. Normally I wrap these up at an hour, so this is a testament. No, it's a testament to how much I enjoy talking to you and listening to you. But yeah, my hope is along the same lines as yours. I think if we can just get first past the post thrown out into the garbage bin, if we can get proportional representation implemented, and that future governments are forced to negotiate with each other and sit down and actually talk like adults and work government and parliament like it's a council. And
because I'm done. I'd never vote Green. I already said, somebody said to me, what if, if Labour were really bad, would you vote, if you thought Labour were bad, would you vote Green? And I said no, or Lib Dem, and I wouldn't. But the reason being is they don't have a chance. So I said I would draw an incredibly detailed penis on the polling card.
Yeah.
So at least somebody gets a bit of a laugh when they're doing it.
Yeah.
When they're doing it, they go, somebody's drawn a very detailed veiny penis on this polling card. I'm not voting for them. It's pointless.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what happened last time with the Lib Dems. I'm not doing it again. Let's get this done. Get it finished. Get Tories on 50 seats so they can't oppose this first past the post, and let's just get on with it and pay people proper money. Let's pay the NHS. We can more than afford it. It's fucking embarrassing. Let's get Royal Mail and the postal service back where it was. There's no reason to not be paying the railway employees what they're asking, because we need to get people on the trains. If you want to save the environment, get people on the fucking trains.
Yeah.
And we need to do that by pushing for volume, not margin. You can't do. That's a bad business idea to hope to get volume. To hope to get margin, you can't. Let's get that. How the fuck is an empty train going between there and anywhere? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, agreed. John, this has been great. I've really enjoyed our chat tonight.
Always lovely to see you.
If you're not following John on TikTok, do search for him. He's John Left Off the Countryside over on that, and also on Twitter. Have a look for, so it's On Topic Podcast, right? But it's 0N Topic.
Oh yeah, it is.
Right. So it's slightly harder to find.
That's on Twitter.
Yeah.
But everywhere else is. But you can just Google the On Topic Podcast, and there's we're every fucking where.
Yeah, it's a great podcast. I've listened to a few of them. They pick a different sort of quite broad topic every week. So it might be weddings, it might be employment or interviews,
weddings, Christmas, holidays, flying. Oh, we've done loads.
And it's him and his mate, and they roast the shit out of whatever the topic is that week. So well worth a listen. Go and check it out. I'm going to be back next Wednesday with another solo show where I will be slowly losing my mind over the space of 45 minutes, probably. And then I don't think I've got a guest booked in for next week, but all through most of January and February, I've got exciting guests I'm genuinely really excited about chatting to, both again returning favorites like John, but also new people who I've just wheeled in from the depths of TikTok. So look out for that. Thanks once again for listening. Shout out to the Patreons. Thanks for supporting the podcast throughout 2022 and into 2023. I'll catch up with you all soon. Cheerio. Take care of yourselves. Bye.